Hi guys, it's Down Under Monkey. Today I'm going to have a look at this Hotdog Lock. My buddy FeralShooter just posted a video on his channel of picking it, but he wasn't able to gut it, and lo and behold I was actually working on the same lock on the same day. What are the odds, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to gut this and how to put it back together. So this video might have a bit of length in it, but it's going to be fun. So, Hotdog locks, how do they work? Different size pins, like a tubular lock almost. You can see down there, there's the pins. A few people have picked them online, so you have LPL, FeralShooter, you know, there's been a few. So I'm not going to bother picking it, but they work like that. And then in the back here on my one, you've got a push to turn knob as well. Alright, so gutting this lock. So this is a posi drive screw, which is like a Phillips head but not, and this is a Phillips head. Not sure what the purpose of that was, but anyway, I have this magical flat screwdriver that fits everything. So, well, posi drive and Phillips head, so probably not the correct way to do things, but you need to take that little brass plate off. You also need to take off this handle at the back. Alright, it's quite a long screw, that one. Get that out. I suggest that if you're going to do this, just try and organise your parts neatly. Always makes it easier to put things back together when they're in the right order. Now, once you've got that off, you need your Allen key. Pro tip, the Allen key that comes standard in the box with the Hotdog Lock is I think that's the standard one, right? 0575. The one you actually need, 0590. I don't know why they've put that in the box, but anyway, because this screw down in this second hole, so that's where the first screw came out, if you use that one, it'll actually strip out the head of the screw that's down this hole. Well, it might not strip it out completely, but it just doesn't like it. Alright, so you got to loosen that right out. Okay, so what you can do now at this point, grab your handle, put it back on, and you can drive this little rack section out. Alright, put that aside, I'll show you how to put that back in later. Continue turning your lock around until you are zeroed at the top again. Okay, take this ring off the back, just a little brass retainer. Then this section slides straight off, so that's the rack housing, and there's your teeth, or pinions if you want, because this is a rack, they're pinions, so they actually move that backwards and forwards. Pretty cool locks. Alrighty, now pulling it apart without making it explode. The interesting thing about this lock is that's actually a key, so you'll see in a minute when I undo this. So keep your lock standing upright at the moment. Gently take that piece off. This is actually very good quality lock. This is machined brass, one entire section. Okay, so if I take that out, you'll see that's just another key that has the thumb turn over it. So there you go. Alright, take this key, leave it there for a second, I just forgot the next step. So you've got a little grub screw here, so there's the top of the lock, here's the bottom of the lock. Now, easiest way to do this, take the grub screw right out. Now that's not tight, that's only just in there, and I'll explain that when I put it back together. So take this one, because this actually fits up through that entire section, and this is going to be sort of like a follower for us. So keep your lock vertical, start pushing it through. Alright, what you want to do, the finger's not long enough, sorry. Okay, what you want to do, once you see that second cog come out, grab that section and the whole lock comes out, and there's your key. Okay, if you grab this section and pull it, it's going to be a mess. If you try to do it horizontally, it's going to make a mess. I may or may not have done that already. Okay, so there's the two halves of your lock. Now you can see that they're actually springing apart. So what we're going to do, I'm going to bring my tray over here from when I dismantle alloys, which is a disking tray, and I'm going to leave the front section of the lock on. I'm going to hold the cam in the center as well, and I'm going to pull the back section off. Now you're probably going to see some pins drop out, completely normal. Alright, so there should be 6 of those pins. Now you can stand both of these halves up, and I'll give you a close-up in a second. So 6 pins, put them all in one area. Doesn't matter which order they go in, they are all just driver pins of the same size. Now if we look down there, get a bit better light on here. Okay, you can see some more silver pins. Now if I take my key and line it up with that slot, you'll see that that's actually your shear line right there, one of your shear lines. Okay, so the pins line up exactly and form a shear line. Now if I do that to the other one, slide that in, you'll see there's a shear line there. However, that cam, see that cam will actually spin now, but if I drop that back down, it locks in place. Now there's more pins in here and more pins in here. There's actually 3 lots of driver pins. So what I'll do, I'll turn this to the side again. Now you're going to see more pins fall out. Maybe. Ooh, I got it in one. So if you look in here, okay, so they're flush with the cam. They're flush with the cam. However, if I tip those out, there's 2 lots of driver pins in there, so there should be 12 in total. And they're just double stacked against each other like that. Alright, so there's your cam. Put that there. Now put all your driver pins. Easier to put them in bunches of 6 because that's how they have to go back. Now, dismantling this. Now you put your key in, you're not going to be able to grab those pins, so you're going to have to lay it over, and I suggest just very gently tapping it on a slight angle until one of the pins starts to present itself, which is the bottom one here. Now, keeping this line as the top of your lock, what I do is I will take that pin. If it comes with the spring, it comes with the spring. I'll put it in that hole there. I'll explain that in a minute. All the springs are the same. So this is basically a revolver, a 6-pin lock. So I'm going to use top pin, top left, bottom pin, bottom right, top right. They're my slots. So I'm going to put bottom in there, whichever one comes out first. So now we've got, oh come on, hard to grab with these tweezers. There's the top right, there's the bottom right. You'll see that these pins are all different lengths because they match the key. That's the top, and then you've got top left. Alright, you can go ahead and dump all your springs. And there is your empty pin housing. So when we put our key back in there, you can see. Now you'll also see that because this is the top, we have a very long key pin. Well, a very long, yeah, it's a pin on the key. So you have a very short driver. and on the bottom we have a very short key pin, so we have a very long driver. So it's quite easy. If you bugger up the order, just put your key back in, make sure you hold it, and you can see down there, this pin down here is actually very close to me, so that's going to be a short pin. Now you can put it in this way to check. So focus, that works well. Alright, but they actually go in upside down, so they go short side in. Alright, now this one's the same. I'm just going to leave those in there at the moment. There's no point doing that. I've already shown you this side. Alright, now how does it go back together? Okay, so the slot's our top. So what you got to do first, you got to drop all your springs in, because the springs actually go in first. 1, 2, 3. Oh, bloody tweezers. 4, 5, and come on, work with me here. 6. Alright, remembering that the slot is our top again, we're going to load in the top pin, thin side first. Now there are no spools in these, well, in the one I've got anyway. Even these driver pins, they're all standard, nothing special. Alright, so then I'm going to grab top right pin. Oh, that was never going to work. Top right pin, bottom right pin, bottom pin, bottom left pin, and top left pin. Oh, this always happens. Top left. Now, basic rule of lock sport is once you've put the pins in, put the lock back together and make sure that your shear lines are okay. You don't want to assemble the lock and then find out that your shear lines are wrong and your key doesn't work. Okay, what happens next? Grab the cam. Now, remember, this is the top of the lock. I'm going to say it 1,000 times, but it's the easiest way to assemble it. So the cam has a little cutout in the bottom and a flat section on the top. The flat section goes to the top of the lock. And for reference, the flat section of that cam, you can see there, lines up with the center hole, or the center dig out there. Alright. Once you've done that, you're going to load up 2 lots of drivers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's your first stack of drivers. Second stack of drivers. This should bring you almost level with the cam. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, almost level with the cam. Again, you can check. Put your key in, bring it to the shear line. See, we're all level with the shear line. Alright, now grab your second half of your lock. Doesn't matter which order these go in, but there's the top of the cylinder. 1, 2, 3, 4, get in there, come on, 5, and 6. Now the fun part, very gently, so I've got the top on that side, and I've got the top on that side. You're very gently going to lay these over. That has to fit with that, okay? So put your 2 tops together, lay it over, very gently slide it back together and you should end up with that. Alright, both of your tops together. Okay, putting it back in the cylinder the same way we took it out. So stick the blank key in. Oh, by the way, if for some weird reason yours doesn't have this thumb section, so it won't fit up the center, like this key doesn't, just grab one of these keys. Oh, making a liar of me. And it does pull off. Hang on. You can take off the actual plastic housing, and that fits straight up the center now. So that's another option. Alright, so insert your key, holding all this together. Okay, so that's the silver bit goes to the front of the lock. Oop, there. Was way off frame. Alright, so you want to slide it in, let gravity hold the lock together. Alright, we're in. Okay, so once we flip this over, you'll be able to see where our grub screw came out. Now if I turn that, see how there's a little cut out there? That's where the grub screw's got to go back in. So line that up, grab your grub screw, screw it back in. Here's a trick. Screw it in all the way very loosely, back it out half a turn, 3/4 of a turn. It doesn't have to be tight. It's got to allow for some spring like that. So if I grab my key, plug that in. Come on. Make a liar of me here. And there we go. It's turning again. Now if you tighten up that screw completely, you won't be able to turn the lock because it actually pushes the center cam, that little section there, hard against the edges. Now if you watch when I do this, you might see, watch this gap over here. When I do this up tight, it's actually ramming. I don't know if you can see that, my hands are not very steady. This cog here is getting rammed against the side of the cylinder tight, which is not good. Alright, so leave it somewhat loose. Alrighty, this key goes back in there. This section goes back on. Okay, this is the point where it's safe to tip the lock in any direction. So now we're going to do more testing to make sure that it still turns. Now with the center of this cutout, that's where we want the center of the top of our cylinder to be. Alright, slide this back on, remembering which way you took it off. So I took mine off that way. So this has to line up with that. So slide it in like that. Put your Allen key in. Do it up. This one doesn't have to be tight, but just do it up until it stops. Easiest way. Okay. Now, putting the rack back in. At this point, you can do a full 360 with the cylinder. What you're going to do, remember that being the top, I said I'm going to say it 1,000 times, turn that 90 degrees, so now that's upside down, just a tiny bit past 90 degrees. Oh, sorry, 180 degrees. So we want it to be, it used to be here, now it's just a little bit off center. You're going to grab your rack, put it back in, keep pressure on it, turn your key back. Stuck. There we go. And that's where it should sit, just a little bit out. And then it works again. And then we put this back on, little ring, faceplate back on with the posi drive screw, which is a self tapper. Screw that back in. You could probably juice this up if you wanted, put some spools in it, but I'm not really sure it would make that much of a difference. Then you put your end cap back on, and it normally goes like this. Alright, pop that back out. So these are a really cool lock. There's not many of them around, to be honest. If you happen to see them, make sure you pick them up, because they're kind of a collector's item. And then I'm just going to put the case back on the key. If you do need to change the bitting in these, it's actually really easy. You see that little split washer there? So if I grab my knife, where is the bloody thing now? There it is. So if I grab my little flat knife, I'll just bump the camera. You can wedge that little split washer off. Work your way around, work the washer off. Last little bits of pain in the bum. Okay, work the washer off. And then if you grab yourself some long nose pliers, these pins actually just pull straight out. And you can see the little groove, that's all that holds the pins in. So if you wanted to, you could bugger up the order, repin the lock if you wanted. It's very labour intensive, but I don't know, maybe you want to, who knows. Anyway, that's about all from me. I mean, we've got our lock back together. Ow, you know what, it doesn't want to go on right now. We've got our lock back together. It still functions just the way it should from both ends. And there you have it, Hotdog Lock. It's not as scary as thought, as people sort of think it is. Give it a go. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.